Warning, this video contains loud noises, jump scares, and flashing lights. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everyone, and amazing everybody. Today we're going to be watching, or well, reacting to, Analog Horror. You've probably seen it making the rounds on YouTube. That being VIta Carnis by the very talented Darian Quilloy. I will have his channel linked in the description below. Even though, you probably won't even read the description, but whatever. It is what it is. I've seen, like, most likely you guys have seen bits of this as well, like I have. If you want to watch anything else, any of my content, go into my channel, click on anything else, viewer discretion is advised. Me when ads, am I right? Warning, this video talks about what ensures immediate gore, violence, death, classified material. Federal law provides severe civil and criminal penalties for the unauthorized viewing of this footage. Any reproduction, distribution, or display of this video is prohibited. Possession of this footage may lead into investigation and detention. Oh no, bro. I'm gonna get a detention from the school. If released from custody, the apprehended will face a penalty of $500,000. Nearly forgot what numbers were for a second, but whatever. So I'm actually going to quickly.
On planet Earth, life has thrived for millions of years. Creatures big and small have found ways to adapt and evolve to flourish in all types of environments. From barren wastes to lush forests, life can be found. Earth has homed these creatures since the dawn of life itself. Only until very recently, things have changed. New life forms have appeared all around the globe and completely changing the balance of nature and what we know about evolution itself. That is why we, at National Living Meat Research, have been studying these new species, trying to help educate everyone about these creatures and their wondrous ways of life.
The music also just got a bit louder.
First, what are these new life forms? Since their explosive arrival across the globe in 1931, there has been much debate on what these newcomers are and where they came.
First of all, zero to what? For all I know, this could be 1 all the way up here. I know it's not, but come on, guys, actual scale here. Also, gonna have to grade you 0 out of 10. No titles on your axes. 0 out of 10. F. Get out of my class. What are you doing here?
From? Are they extraterrestrials coming to invade Earth? Or are they demons who come from hell to purge humanity? From what our scientists have discovered, no. The origins of these creatures are solely to Earth, miraculously out of nowhere. We don't know why or how, but one thing is for certain, Earth is now their home. What these creatures are is mysterious and still not well known today. But here's what we do know. These creatures are comprised mainly of muscle tissue, organs, and bones. They greatly resemble animals with no skin, or store-bought meat. Because of these characteristics, they have been named according...
I'm sorry, what? What? Hold on. Muscles okay, obviously that makes sense, but greatly resembles mammals without skin. Weird. And they can
organic matter, but their main diet is composed of raw meat, not including their carnis relatives.
Let's go.
The carnis only appear in places where there is an abundance of crawl, which leads to the first creature of the carnis species, the crawl. The crawl is a growth of meaty tendrils that closely resemble the small intestine, the only difference being the dark red coloration. These tendrils grow in a similar pattern as vines, mold, or fungi. A primary stem structure is the host to divisions of other, smaller branches. And each tendril contains a variety of veins, arteries, and other similar organs used to transport nutrients absorbed from its surroundings. The ends of these tendrils are equipped with organelles used to absorb water and organic matter necessary for growth. The source of these organic materials is mainly found in dirt and soil on surrounding surfaces. Using its root-like tendrils, it absorbs the material and processes it into usable energy. Although, the crawl also obtains energy through another means. Using a sophisticated form of photosynthesis, the dark pigmentation of the smaller branches is ideal for absorbing.
Very detailed and on a diagram here. We'll say 10 out of 10.
Sunlight, and therefore allowing solar energy to fuel the crawl's growth.
Crawl.
Because of its efficiency, it thrives in almost all types of environments, easily allowing it to spread across the world, and can be found pretty much anywhere. Its recent inclusion in the ecosystem has caused many major changes in nature's balance. One may assume that the crawl's presence may outcompete any other competitors, but due to its unique life cycle, where old branches fall off and decay into nutrient-rich compost, all forms of life seemingly flourish instead. The crawl's abundance grants plenty of nourishment to all animals, from plants feeding on the decayed crawl, herbivores thriving on increased plant population, and carnivores feeding on both the abundant prey, and are able to eat the crawl as well. The presence of all these animals leave behind waste, which will be broken down and consumed by the crawl, and the cycle begins again. This form of symbiosis leads to an environment where all populations thrive. Humanity also uses the crawl to our advantage. Because of the supernatural rate of growth and its richness in nutrients.
What was that? So, all that I could make out from what it said during that, newspaper clipping that I couldn't read, from what I saw, all it says is just radio tower overgrown with crawl. So, and that's all I can make out from the rest of what it says. So we didn't miss much.
In nutrients, it has been sustainably cultivated into domestic farms. The crawl is harvested and processed into fertilizer, which greatly increases crop yield and quality. The crawl may also be used as a food source for humans, and reliably so.
Of course
but due to its unkindly appearance and taste, it has yet to reach cuisine standards.
I mean, fair.
The crawl also plays a very important role in the next creatures that we have been studying. Sometimes, in a crawl-populated environment, a node of meat may develop on one of the branches. This node will fall off and grow into a functioning organism, and go to live on as an independent animal. This leads us to the upcoming species that we will be discussing. The first of these creatures are the Trimmings. The Trimmings.
Something again. Once upon a time, there was a distant kingdom. The kingdom was probably ruled over by a king and queen. Because I can make out queen, and I assume king comes before it. The prince, the royal family were something else. I think that reads abilities. They something land. It's probably they traveled land and sea to discover new places and learn blank. Odd.
The Trimmings.
The Trimming.
Trimmings are small animals that resemble skinned raccoons. They are commonly known to have a plump body, round head, small eyes, nose and ear holes, and an agape mouth. They are also equipped with a diversity of limbs. All individual Trimmings are unique, each with a different body shape, number of limbs, and other characteristics.
All I know is the thing on the right.
One thing they all share in common is that they are made mostly of meat tissue and are a maximum of 20 centimeters in length, no larger than a basketball.
Oh!
It's
Could you just imagine, like, going outside or wherever these things live, and then just seeing a ball of flesh roughly the size of a basketball? That would be disgusting. Still want to own one.
Life starts with its separation from the crawl. It will wonder to find anything that is edible and able to consume. Although it is an omnivore, being able to hunt meat and forage for plant matter, trimmings are almost entirely scavengers. Their diet consists of rotting plants and meat, including, but not limited to, fruits, vegetables, roots, seeds, insects, and deceased animals. Although its appearance is unsightly, it is a cowardly creature, only fleeing, screeching, and hiding when threatened. Because of its lack of defensive traits, it lies near the bottom of the food chain, making it easily overpowered and picked off very regularly by predators. Naturally, its population would eventually die out. This is not the case.
Okay, something just... I wasn't paying attention, but something showed that...
Its population would eventually die out.
Okay, I saw that. Mass trimming infestation. Estimated 400 plus trimmings gathered under large abandoned satellite dish.
Not the case. The crawl constantly produces a large quantity of trimming nodes, keeping up their numbers. Naturally, trimmings can be found wherever there is abundant crawl.
What's this area? Like, what's this area? This doesn't exist in real life. Like, next to the Caribbean, this just doesn't exist. There's also something growing off of Florida. Very, very strange. Also, where's my boy? Where's my boy Hawaii?
Trimmings grow at a decent pace, reaching maturity at around 7 months, having a maximum lifespan of 2 to 4 years.
Don't live for very long, do they?
Although they are plentiful, humanity has no proper way to implement trimmings into society. Their overabundance has even considered them pests. Due to them digging through trash bins and making excessive noise.
Brother. If I saw that thing just looking at me through a wall with seeing its eyes, I am booking it in the other direction, bro. I do not care if these things don't eat meat, don't eat live things. If I saw this thing, you best believe I'm going in the other direction.
And considered them pests. Due to them digging through trash bins and making excessive noise at night. Besides all of this, some people still keep trimmings as pets, and relatively domesticate them.
So we dog bed.
Nuisance or not, trimmings are a wondrous creature. From their plentiful numbers, to their skittish nature, they are truly a thing to behold. The next species on our list is the meat snake.
I was actually about to make a meat snake joke, haha, funny, but I didn't mean to actually pause on this. During the trial, one of their something, a great storm struck. It was so powerful it swayed the boat the royal family rode and pushed the prince out and into the sea. H2. I don't think there's a... So there seems to be some kind of story here that is somehow tied with the rest of the story. I assume
the meat snake.
More out about that earlier, but also, you know,
the
meat snake. Why you got me with my pants down, dog? Why you staring at my meat snake, boy?
Snake is a worm-like creature, made of a variety of types of meat, coated in a transparent, skin-like membrane. Its size varies during its lifespan, depending on how much it consumes. When it first separates from the crawl, it is only a few centimeters in length.
Ew.
Eventually, it will reach an average length of 5 meters. Although, under extreme conditions, like natural disasters, war, or plague, it can greatly surpass.
Whoa. First of all, 5 meters. Jesus Christ. I didn't know Shaq's meat snake was that big. Largest meat snake ever discovered. During a sweep of underground settlements made during the war, a massive sized meat snake was discovered and stuck inside an underground. It looks like it says railway, that's what it says. The beast was measured at a total of 40 meters in length. It is believed the bodies gathered during the war were fed to the creature, causing it to reach the unbelievable size. Holt activity? God mother damn. That's a big boy.
Surpass this length. The meat snake's diet consists entirely of dead animals or parts. A meat snake is incapable of consuming a healthy, living organism.
Alright, good. So it's
the meat snake locates its food by using a tongue-like organ covered in sensors to touch and feel its environment. The sensors catch particles of decaying meat, notifying the meat snake that there is food nearby. This process shares many similarities to regular snakes, hence the meat snake's name. Once it locates the corpse, the meat snake will open its jaw and swallow the entire body whole. Once the entire body is consumed, the meat snake's stomach will release a variety of chemicals. Some will break down soft tissue like skin, and the connection points between muscles. Others chemicals will then ferment and preserve the tissue to keep it from breaking down for as long as possible. After that, the remaining flesh and bones will move along the meat snake's tract, and slowly be implemented into its own structure, extending the meat snake. Unsatisfactory parts like skulls, pelvises, hair, and fingernails will be excreted. Speaking of skulls, the meat snake will take the skull from the consumed organism and use it as its own. Each meat snake has its own skull, each corresponding to what the...
That's a human skull. Oh, okay, so obviously a bird of some kind. What seems to be a rhino. And then a human skull. Gotta follow the analog horror rule of 3 here, folks.
That one has consumed. During its lifespan, it will swap or replace these skulls if needed. A meat snake's lifespan depends entirely on how much a meat snake consumes. The longest one has lived for was 28 years. The meat snake has no predators and is immune to disease due to its preserving chemicals.
Of course,
the only significant ways a meat snake can die is through starvation, burning, or complete destruction of the meat snake's membrane coating. Interestingly, the meat snake is the only member of the Carnis family that is able to reproduce. When a meat snake reaches an excessive size and is in the conditions to do so, it will commence mitosis, splitting itself in two. Then the now 2 meat snakes will go on their separate ways and live on as 2 distinct organisms. Meat snakes can only be found in moderate temperature climates, not too hot, not too cold.
Oh, let's go. So I don't have to deal with them. Also, something I just realized is something I just realized right now when looking at the meat snake is I'm surprised this thing can live in Australia. Like, brother.
Their population depends entirely on the amount of corpses available. Where there is death, there are meat snakes. Humanity will use them to our advantage.
Obviously,
meat snakes are a very efficient and clean way of disposing of any meat products. The preserving fluid within the meat snake's body disinfects the carrion, preventing the spread of disease. Humans use meat snakes in butcher shops as a waste bin, dispose roadkill, within war on the battlefield to dispose of festering bodies and parts, and within zoos to dispose of deceased animals.
Oh, this is
They are
creative.
extremely tame, not caring if any creature is around them.
Yeah, extremely tame. Bro, this guy's about to just get his face munched off.
Only acting defensively when it is within consuming a meal. This means they are very easy to tame.
Sure.
Overall, meat snakes are a marvelous creature with a very interesting way of sustaining itself. It is an amazing experience to encounter one, as long as you don't mind the smell.
What does it smell like?
Our next creature is the mimic.
Oh, something else just showed up. Meat mimic. After being stranded at sea, the young prince eventually was cast to an island. Injured, the prince stumbled his way into a nearby cave. The prince used what magic he could to put himself into a healing sleep.
The mimic. The mimic is a bipedal creature with uncanny similarities to humanoid anatomy. They greatly resemble humans without skin, without exaggerated features. These features include extended finger length, longer limbs, bulging, empty eyes, and their most prominent feature, a wide, teeth-filled smile. Although it resembles a happy face, this is due to coincidence, and is only how their facial structure is shaped.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
The mimic contains much more teeth than humans, and their teeth is comprised almost entirely of incisors, with some canine and premolars in the back. This tooth composition is ideal for biting down onto meat and swallowing chunks whole.
Of course.
A mature mimic's diet is comprised entirely of human flesh.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Please?
Because of this, they are found solely around.
Of course I have to deal with them. Why, Australia is more safe than I am. I did. Nah, you win this one, boy. You win this one, VIta Carnis.
On human-populated areas.
The
mimic's life cycle is made of 3 stages. In the first stage, a young mimic separates from the crawl. They closely resemble their trimming relatives, but are thin, sleek, and only have 4 appendages. In this stage, the young mimic will hunt small animals, moving on to larger and larger as they grow. Once large enough, it will begin metamorphosis into the next stage of life. Once fully transformed, it will resemble the description mentioned in the beginning. Its hunting style changes and
mimic locked inside home after owner escape. So, he's outside. Bro. Yeah, take the picture. Book it, you know? Also, something I find weird, right? So why is it specifically eat humans? It would most definitely get more out of eating like a moose. You know? Obviously, I know more Eastern countries from America won't have stuff like that. But, come on, man, throw us a bone.
Becomes much more complicated. It now...
Oh, ew. Yeah. Bro's definitely outside. I know that's the mimic right there, but like... Could you imagine Bro's running away, full sprint, Polaroid camera in hand. He's making the dash for the door, and then like last second he turns around, snaps a photo of the mimics, like, gotta stick this one in the scrapbook, and then just continues booking it out of there. Honestly.
Stalks and feeds only on humans. It will locate human-populated area and begin its search for an easy target. To blend in, it may use objects to conceal itself. These include clothing, mannequins, and furniture.
Oh no. Oh,
once a target has been found, the mimic will observe its prey and learn its routine and when it is most vulnerable. This is typically when the human is asleep at night. Once the prey is within position, the mimic will advance silently until it is close enough. The mimic will then execute it immediately. consumption. Once the mimic has had its fill, it will leave the scene, a fair distance away from the human population, and begin to digest its meal.
Ew.
Although, in the case that a human is awake, a mimic will use a variety of sounds to either lure or startle prey into cornering themselves.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I did not like that. I did not like that. For all of you homeboys watching this with headphones, first of all, you have bigger balls than most people. Second of all, you also probably just got jump scared by that knocking sound. It's actually really dark in my room right now. So you know, if I end up vanishing, you know what happened.
Once a human is in place, it will swiftly attack and kill the helpless target.
What's this? Oh. This is a mimic attack. Oh, this is an actual mimic attack. Oh, he's going ham on that door dog. I would turn the light off and fucking hold my breath for as long as I could in this situation. Like, bro, turn the light off, bro. You're shining it right through the crack of the wardrobe. Oh no. What's that? It's quiet. I don't like this. Oh, oh god, Oh! Hello!
The next stage of the mimic's life cycle has two potential morphs it may develop into.
Yeah, he had a nice sweet face.
If a mimic has a consistent supply of food, it will develop more human-like features. It will grow skin, hair, and by the end will look nearly identical to a human being. It now can blend entirely into civilization and lure other humans more effectively. The second type of morph happens when a mimic receives an overabundance of food. It will grow into a larger, more evolved hunter. Its proportions will increase in length, and its humanoid features will fade away. It grows a thick, dark coating of a flexible skin, which is highly durable, and increases in strength the more the elder mimic consumes. This excludes the face, which is now coated in a pale pink skin.
My god.
The mimic's teeth have also moved deeper into the mimic's throat, leaving its mouth a toothless grin. It uses the dark hue of its skin to hide seamlessly within a dark environment. Its skills have also been heightened. This makes an elder mimic one of the most efficient predators on the planet. Because of the obvious threat this poses on humanity, nations around the world have released instructions on how to be able to fend for yourself in a mimic encounter. Here are the instructions.
1. Avoid going out alone if your location is known to have mimics, or there have been mimic sightings. 2.
Fair.
If you encounter a stationary mimic, seemingly unfazed by your presence, quietly leave the location and alert your local authorities. 3.
So fair.
If pursued by a mimic, get yourself into a position where you are able to flee. Mimics will rarely attack if a person has a clear escape route. 4. In the event that you have been cornered by a mimic, roll into the fetal position, protecting your neck, face, and vital organs from attack. Make as much noise as you can to alert any other people. 5. If you have a weapon, Do not use it. A mimic is fairly resilient, and any strikes or shots on a mimic is not effective enough to bring it down in time. Instead, use it as a barrier between you and the mimic to block any attacks. 6. In a situation where a mimic is hunting in the immediate area, and is not aware of your position, hide somewhere low, like under a bed or behind other furniture. A mimic will not linger too long to search for prey, and will move on.
Be safe, and avoid any encounters with a mimic at all costs. Next up, the Harvester.
Oh, we got another one, boys. But also just like Harvester evolution. Who's evolving? But something I will say, with like the mimic, if the person just like, cause they don't linger too long, if the person just kept their light off, they would have been fine. Kinda sad, they would have just lived if they just kept their light off. But alas. But the prince's sleep was long. He slept for what seemed like forever. As he slept, the land around him changed and grew. It was unrecognizable from when the prince first arrived. The sleep still needed time to heal the prince, much more time, but it kept the prince safe while he rested, guarding him from the elements of the lands as the land changed. So from what I'm getting from this, like on top of everything that's like happening with the documentary, there's also most likely a symbolic like this the story's obviously supposed to symbolize something, but I don't know what it is yet. I assume we'll find out together what it is in like the later episodes of
The Harvester.
Looks like a
The
testicle.
Harvester is a large, bulbous mass, with a large amount of tendrils spreading from the base.
It really looks like a
The
nutsack.
bulb measures around 3 meters in height and 2 meters in diameter. The tendrils, on the other hand, can extend up to 150 meters in diameter horizontally. The Harvester is a specialized form of crawl that grows in a unique and deadly way. A harvester is created when a node, that will grow into a harvester, instead of separating, continues to grow. Eventually, it will grow tendrils of its own. It uses the energy provided by its mother branch and expands its reach further. Its tendrils, hidden just below the surface of the ground. The harvester is equipped with 2 types of specialized tendrils. The first type is bulky and flat. They lie the closest to the surface. These branches are lined on each length of the tendril with spines, extending in the shape of a bear trap. On each side of the branch, those particular spines have a vein that feed into them, that pump 2 types of venom. On one side, the spines can inject a neurotoxin, which will attack the nervous system of whomever it is injected into, causing sudden paralysis. The other side can inject an anticoagulant, which when injected, prevents blood cells from clotting. Whenever a large animal moves across the area armed with these tendrils, the branches will clamp onto the animal and thrash violently. Once the prey has been injected with both venoms, the tendrils will rest and the prey will immediately collapse. The animal will be unable to move due to the paralysis, and the wounds caused by the thrashing spines will not stop bleeding. All the prey can do is lie patiently, until succumbing to blood loss.
What can you really do in that
Once
situation?
the prey has bled out, the second type of tendrils come in. They lie below the spine equipped once. These branches are thin, but very sturdy. They share similar anatomy to the small branches of the crawl, equipped with organelle that absorbs nutrients. These tendrils sense the blood, and move their way to the surface and begin to absorb the vital fluid. Once the blood has been consumed, the tendrils will wrap around the body and begin to shuffle downwards. This movement loosens the soil and slowly pull the body underground. Once secure, the tendrils will continue to feed until there is nothing but scraps. The nourishment absorbed by the tendrils will be sucked back into the main bulb of the harvester. This bulb houses all the vital organs and the venom glands that pump into the spines. The nutrients are then converted into usable energy. The remains underground decompose, providing a rich soil, causing very prominent plant growth, which then attracts more animals. A strange behavior the harvester displays is its choice of diet. The spines will only activate on larger animals, allowing smaller ones to pass by unaffected. The spines will also not activate on some species of bird. There are a couple theories as to why this happens. 1. It could be that attacking smaller animals would cost too much energy for what they get in return, making it not worth the time. Another could be that smaller animals may attract larger animals or predators, allowing a safe place where prey may thrive and lure more predators. It truly is astonishing.
Not really.
Although it is a spectacular creature, it is also very dangerous. The harvester is decently rare, only populating sparse areas in the northern hemisphere and woodland forests. If you are stung by a harvester, there will be no way of helping you, being that there is no cure, and fatality is 100% positive.
Family attacked by, I'm assuming this is harvester, while hiking? Authorities refused to handle the harvester. Strange. Okay.
The best thing you can do is avoid encountering a harvester in the first place. If you are hiking, take note of any warnings or signs saying that there are harvesters around. If you also notice an abundance of lush, ground-dwelling plants in a forested area, and there are no signs of wildlife, this is suspicious and you should leave the area, staying close to the base of large trees or rocks. If you find yourself in the middle of a harvester ground, do not panic. Sudden movements may activate the tendrils and will inject you. Although a harvester is rather forgiving, do not risk any skittish movements. Remain calm. If you have any objects with considerable heft, like coats, backpacks, or full water bottles, gently take that object and lightly toss it towards the bulb, and away from your escape route. This will activate the spines on where the object lands, distracting the bulb for a moment. You will then slowly begin to do wide shuffles away from the bulb. If possible, throw another object when you are certain you are a fair enough distance away, just to be safe. Continue until you are completely sure you are out of harm's way. You may come out unscathed, but don't be too obnoxious, or you will be a harvester's next meal. Next up is the host.
During the cave during a time of hardship, the island critters were struggling in their land, then with barely any food to go around, I assume, they would go and gather whatever and probably to go into the cave, maybe? I'm not sure.
The host of influence. The host of influence, more commonly referred to as the host, has its name derived from a host who invites guests to an event. Not to be confused with a host, a harborer of parasites or disease. The host is a semi-humanoid-looking organism. It has the structure of a head, torso, and arms. Other than this, it shares no other characteristics. The lower half of the host is comprised of a mass of fibrous tissue and tendrils that burrow into the ground to hold the host in place. Instead of skin, the host is covered in muscular tissue fibers, tendons, and veins. In some parts of the body are covered in a meaty plate, used to cover any large exposed areas, but allowing movement. The host's head has a smooth surface where the face should be, attached to a crooked neck, which houses a slit in the front used for feeding. On the host's back is a mound of pores. Protruding from these pores are hollow, hair-like structures, extending outwards. These hairs are barrels that release spores produced within host's body by being fired into the air. These spores are hazardous, so keep clear of them at all costs.
Oh Jesus
Luckily,
Christ. I don't know, I can't fully make out what it is, but it seems to be a red triangle, because I can make out like a top there. What seems to be a red substance, most likely, bodily, the red juice. And a black circle. And there's another one that showed up. Here it is. That seems to be people? It's not a host, because I appear to be inside a building. And maybe it's those cult leaders that the meat snake thing was talking about? Like in the newspaper clipping about the cultists? Because it does look like they're wearing hoods and robes potentially, and it also looks like their arms are up. Very strange indeed.
Luckily, the host is rare, only found in North America.
Let's go.
Obtaining info about the host is a very risky and daunting task. This is because of their rarity and of how dangerous it is to be up close to one. The spores released by a host is very dangerous when inhaled. A host will release a cloud of spores into the air, which will be picked up by wind and carried great distances. If an organism inhales the spores, the particles will find their way into the organism's brain and infect them.
I'm just processing that. So, like, just breathing it in? Like, what? I don't know.
An infected organism will show no symptoms of infection right away, but a couple hours after infection the infected organism's behavior and thought process will change.
Ain't no way.
The first symptoms that appear are restlessness, sluggish movement, numbness of joints, and lack of coordination. Then more serious symptoms appear over time. These include dizziness, migraines, impaired speech, and trembles. If you, or someone you know show these symptoms, contact poison control or emergency services. After a total of 6 to 7 hours after infection, the organism will cease all activities they were previously doing and begin to walk. The direction the infected will walk is towards the host whose spores have been inhaled by the infected individual. If the infected makes their way to the host, they will kneel down in front of it.
So, obviously, I think just from context alone, the person walking in those clips half a second ago, that is most likely a person infected by this guy. This Daniel, the name now. But just inhaling the spores, like inhaling those spores causes all that bad stuff, and then you go towards the host and presumably die.
Expose their vital organs, and the host will promptly gut and remove those organs.
Bro thought the vine boom was necessary.
The host will consume them and discard the leftover scraps. However, if an infected organism doesn't reach the host within a 36-hour span or is treated for their infection, the effects will wear off and return back to normal. If a host is unable to find prey or doesn't like its current location, it will unroot itself and move to a new location. Their scarce numbers and the hazard of being around one makes getting info about the host very daunting. All you need to currently know is that the host is extremely dangerous and should be avoided at all costs. Next, the monoliths.
once again, because start a new clip. Although one day the critters found the cave while searching for food. They found the prince in in trance in his healing sleep. The critters were so awestruck and enchanted by the prince's magic. Also, something I do want to set, like I noticed down here, is how it says initially trimmings, meat snake, meat mimic, harvester evolution, but then it stops. It stops with like it gets straight to the point, almost like harvester evolution, meat mimic, and then it just cuts to the host, the monolith, like monoliths.
The monoliths.
Carnis.
The monolith is a very new creature, only showing up in June of 1972, in the area of...
Wait. You can see it up there, in the weird island.
There are only 7 monoliths, all of them located in a circular position, 1.5 kilometers in diameter. This ring of monoliths surrounds...
Why is it redacted?
A monolith is a titanic-sized being, measuring roughly 120 meters in height. Each monolith has 2 trunk legs that are firmly embedded underground. The legs connect to a torso. The creature itself is made of hundreds of thousands of meaty strands, tightly woven together to form the structure. These strands end at the neck, fusing into a solid mass of hardened flesh in the shape of an upside-down triangle, with a hole in its center. On each side of the monolith where arms would be, there are dozens of long, rope-like appendages. These reach just barely to the ground. At the creature's feet, the strands go deep into the earth and extend horizontally a decent distance away. What the monoliths do is simply stand and do nothing. The only activity documented that the monoliths have done was in... During this period, they were and do nothing. The only activity documented that the monoliths have done was in... During this period, they were extremely aggressive. When the group of were making their way to the city, the monolith that they had passes roared a deep bellow and swung its appendages at the team, completely wiping them out. When military vehicles were dispatched, once they got close enough to top the monolith, it roared another call, this time releasing an EMP blast, completely knocking the vehicles out in the vicinity. Finally, long-distance rockets were fired and struck the creature.
Is this what happened? I assume this was to be like a representation of what happened.
Although damaged, it regenerated at great speed and resumed its stance unscathed. Eventually, the area has been fenced off and is now restricted to all. Ever since, the monoliths stand silently, now only a grand spectacle of awe and mystery, only adding more questions to these meat beings. And finally, the last creature on this list is...
Oh, jeez, I had like 3 separate attempts to pause out there and I did nothing to stop that.
List is...
Okay, you know what? Screw this. Who is this creature? Why are they here? Are they dangerous? A thought was brought. What if this creature could be used? You could use its magic to help them. It may grow food or heal sicknesses. They continue to argue about the prince and his magic. Something and the majority of the critters agreed that the prince should be I don't know what that says, and should not be meddled with.
The Singularity is an orb comprised of a dark
The Singularity, Verum Carnis.
colored mineral with hints of luminous colors within its core. The Singularity is estimated to be 1 meter in diameter. The orb has several unique qualities that are not well understood. The Singularity typically can be found suspended in air by an unseen force. There are also a variety of reading that have been documented coming from the orb itself. Various things like magnetic fields, energy signatures, and other pattern-like signals released by the Singularity. The population of these creatures is unknown. Almost all info about the Singularity is hidden or confiscated by officials. We were only able to receive one classified document about the Singularity being held by...
I hate that, I hate this, I don't like that noise.
Marvelous and majestic world that exists today. It's as extraordinary to have such strange and mysterious beings appear all around us. Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery of the lives of these living meat creatures.
Thanks for watching. More to come. Made by Darian. Quilloy. So, something like, I love how this is. Alright, next episode. VIta Carnis. Cook at home. Kitchen. Cheese crawl penne cook along.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. To make this
This could be the greatest discovery of the age.
Baby. Let this feeling in.
Have any information of the wearable?
Wanted by the CIA. Inter-provisional travel production of sensitive material. Wanted by the CSIS. Vincent Barrar. Date of birth. August 28th, 1968. Eyes brown. Complexion medium. Sex male. Nationality Canadian. Place of birth. Have any information on? Just contact your little CSIS officer. Telephone numbers and addresses is spelled wrong. Of all CSIS officers listed on the back.
Be making a dish that has recently gained a fair amount of popularity. Today's dish will be a cheesy crawl penne.
Yo, I do love a good old pasta.
To start off, these will be the ingredients you will need. 3 cups of penne pasta. Roughly 3 cups worth of fresh crawl. Try to get a variety of sizes when you buy yours, or when you harvest them yourself.
Yeah, sure.
1 cup of cheese. Half a cup of green onion. 1 teaspoon of salt. 2 tablespoons of Cajun spice. 2 tablespoons of parsley. 1 tablespoon of dill. 1 tablespoon of garlic. A pinch of pepper. And finally, the most crucial ingredient, Nutrier Company's newly released flavor
Hey,
enhancer.
hold on. That looks like the thing that showed up before the host bit, like before the host's bit of the last video. It was a circle with a triangle. So they have something to do with the whole Carnis thing, maybe? I'm not sure.
To bring out the richness of flavors within each and every meal.
Yo. Let's go. Where can I get 50
First,
batches of
get a
these?
medium-sized pot and fill half of it with water.
Aww. Grit. Some of the water was spilled. Also, why is he wearing gloves?
Add a pinch of salt, which is used to help the pot come to a boil faster and help flavor the pasta. Then, set aside to boil.
This does not
Grab your
seem
coal
official.
and a sharp knife. Begin to cut the meat into a rough mince.
Plastic and everything. Yep. Plastic and everything. Oh. Ew. Sounds like he's wearing a mask based on...
Roll is soft on the outside, but the interior has a surprising sturdiness.
I can't tell if that's him breathing or the knife. It sounds like he's wearing a mask.
Then, gather the meat and set aside.
Just completely didn't chop one of them.
Mince the green onion into roughs.
Hold on! I'm sorry, first of all. So many things are violated here. First of all, I get he's wearing gloves, but he didn't wash them beforehand. Second of all, he's also chopping. He's using the same chopping board for both meat and vegetables. Raw meat, I might add. Third offense, he hasn't cleaned up after chopping the meat. Fourth offense, he's using the same knife. So, I don't care how good this thing tastes, I don't want to get food poisoning from it.
Segments.
F-, get out of my class. Bro's getting all the crawl juices.
And set aside as well. Next, grab your skillet and preheat with along some oil.
Mmm. Yummy.
Take your minced crawl and spread it evenly across the skillet.
Looks, tasty.
Stir occasionally until crisp and brown. As your water reaches a boil, add your penne and stir occasionally.
That's, definitely a boil.
Cook until soft.
Yeah, that's not boiling.
At this time, your crawl will be brown and crisp.
Now that looks tasty.
Add your minced green onion and then the spices.
Although that doesn't look like onion to me.
Mix well. Once your pasta is finished cooking, strain it.
At least you got that right. When are we gonna add butter to it though?
Lay your cooked penne evenly into your dish.
Oh.
Then
Looks
add
like it's
the
coming
cold
together.
topping. sprinkle a generous amount of cheese along the still warm crawl for it to melt.
Still warm, eh?
At this point, finish preparing the dish with your flavor enhancer, but allow your dish to cool to a temperature below 60 degrees Celsius, or else the enhancer will not work.
No, I'll talk about the end.
And now, you may serve and enjoy.
Okay, I know like some lore's about to come on screen. But first of all, that does not look cooked. That cheese is not melted. Second of all, if the guitarist, when the flavor enhancer came on screen, got really aggressive. Bro was really passionate about that flavor enhancement. But to each your own. And if you heard what she said, for the flavor enhancer, apply it once it's cooked until it's cooled below 60 degrees. Now, that's not safe. Because typically, well, I'm not sure about it now. It might come back into play later. But 60 degrees is the heat of something where, like, anything above 60 degrees is when, like, fungus and diseases, bacteria die. So, something's off about that flavor enhancer, for sure. Who are they with? I'm assuming that. Also, something else just showed up. I'm assuming that was the new Trico logo because it was the same black orb, and I couldn't make out the red thing. God damn it. Stop. Oh my god, that is so loud. God damn. Although the other critters ignored the rest of their fellow kind, instead they secretly visited the slumbering visitor. They snuck what little food they had and carefully fed it to the prince, greatly hastening their recovery. Made by Darian Quilloy. Cooking with Crawl. Most is that you cut the vet, yeah, fair, and use the same knife. Exactly, brother. I don't care about your sister. Wow, British cuisine. That's amazing. Yeah, this guy's talking about the. What? Chance of seasoning could be a cult recruiting tactic. Also, it's the same color as the host sports. So it may have mind controlling properties. I'm sorry, what? No, I'm gonna look at that later. Next video. VIta Carnis. Guide to owning a pet trimming.
What if you could do SEO?
I don't care. I also don't want that. So, go away.
Many people get pets for companionship.
Yeah.
They form bonds and grow relationships with these animals, even to the point of them being considered a part of the family.
Look at the wee doggy.
Most people get dogs or cats,
You get the
but
doggy.
maybe you want something more interesting. Then, you may want to get yourself a trimming. These lumps of meat have grown a reputation to be a loving companion for many people in the recent months.
No.
Although, most people may not know the proper ways to care for them.
Why?
Today, we will be showing you how you can care for your pet trimming.
Why would I want to?
Taking care of a trimming is fairly
It looks
easy,
disgusting.
but this is no reason to slack off. They are living things and do require maintenance. The first thing to keep in mind when keeping a trimming is the temperature of your home. While trimmings are resilient to both high and low conditions, you want to keep your base temperature near room temp, maybe slightly cooler. That being said, trimmings prefer warmer areas to nest. A simple setup you may use is a box with some blankets on the inside. Make sure there is enough for your trimming to cover itself. And
That's just
now,
funny.
you have a comfy bed for your buddy.
That's a bit adorable. Alright,
Next, you
that's
want
a
to
bit
give
cute.
your trimming the best diet possible. Trimmings are
Obviously,
not picky eaters and will eat anything you give them. To keep your trimming healthy and strong, a diet of dry cat or dog food that is high in protein, provided 2 times a day, is best. As a treat, you may give your trimming any scraps of your food. Things like apple cores, banana peels, or eggshells are a perfect snack.
Truly,
The thing to remember is
cuisine
trimmings
fit.
are nocturnal and make plenty of noise. To prevent you from having sleepless nights.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, what now? Huh? If I went to sleep having to listen to that all day, all night, I think I would wake up and then football kick that thing to the moon. 'Cause goddamn, that thing is terrifying. That thing sounds terrifying. Like, let's just imagine, right? It's the middle of the night, 3 a.m., you know, you're exhausted, like 3 a.m., like, yeah, late at night, going downstairs to get a drink of water, and then you just hear this thing.
To prevent you from having sleepless nights,
not go
try
to
to give your
sleep.
trimmings first meal in the late morning or afternoon. This helps them be active during these times instead.
Ah, so we're just controlling how it sleeps then.
Another thing to consider if you want a pet trimming is where they will be living. Your home should have enough space for your trimming to roam around, as well as access to the outdoors, like a backyard.
Where he's touching
If
grass.
not, be sure to take your trimmings on regular walks. This gives your trimming the exercise they need, as well as allowing them to meet other trimmings.
That's adorable. Oh,
Trimmings
that's
are
adorable.
a social creature and need to interact with others of their kind.
Yeah,
like
but yeah, I'd like to take my. If I had a trimming, obviously I'd take it on a walk. But you know, I wouldn't like to talk. It will be kind of a weird conversation to talk to the neighbors or the locals about why I'm carrying around what looks like a sentient kidney around on a leash.
How they do in the wild.
So I'll pass.
When it comes to entertainment, trimmings are not the most active and aren't the best at fetch or tug of war.
That's pretty funny.
But here are other ways to keep your trimming entertained. Some toys that trimmings like are little items they can push, around, pull, or carry.
Aww.
Trimmings also enjoy things that you enjoy as well, like watching the television or listening to the radio. They love seeing and listening to all the funny things coming from the devices. After a long day, your trimming might...
What was that? First of all, sick radio channel, bro. You know, better than the Joe Rogan podcast. Also, the 542 staying in place, meaning it might be a significant time. Oh. It's nothing. That was nothing important.
After a long day, your trimming might be dirty and need a wash. To clean them, start your bath with a gentle warm water, mixed with a bit of hand or body wash. Gently scrub the trimming's feet, armpits, belly, and neck fold. Remember to be careful around their face and avoid getting soap in their eyes, nose, and mouth.
That's adorable.
Gently pat dry with a towel when done. Now your buddy is all clean.
You pooped him! You gave him a wee poop! You can poop a trimming? Where can I get 50 of them?
And lastly, as said before, trimmings are social creatures, so be sure to give them plenty of affection. They love receiving pats, scratches, and pets. They They also love to sit with you and cuddle.
Aww.
Since they communicate with each other in the wild, it is best to replicate this behavior with them as well. Simply talking to them is plenty enough. You can talk about your day, if anything interesting happened at work, if you are working on any new recipes, or talk about the weather. Trimmings are very good listeners and love to be involved.
Frankly, I don't think they have ears.
With all of these in mind, you are now well equipped to have a trimming become a part of the family. Do things right, and you will have a companion for a long while.
So... Oh, God. One day, the prince awoke suddenly. Thanks to the critter's assistance, the healing process was finished very quickly. The prince had fully recovered and was now fully awake and aware of their surroundings. Surprised by the sudden awakening, the critters ducked and hid from the prince's sight. Alright. Now, I know we have... Oh, wait, no. I'll watch this because it's fairly short.
Introducing Opera GX, the first browser.
We'll watch this one and then I'll end the video. Not new tab, but whatever. Sounds like someone's fiddling with tapes. Warning. The unauthorized reproduction, distribution, or viewing of the following footage is strictly prohibited. Infringement of these instructions will leave federal law. Discard this tape immediately.
In the year of 1945, with the war finally ended, the cleanup process had started. During routine sweep of an underground train tunnel, the cleanup crew made a grotesque discovery. Found completely filling the tunnel was a meaty wall, and in the center of the mass was an opening with several skulls surrounding it. Closer inspection of the blockage revealed that the mass was actually an extremely engorged meat snake. Its impeccable size had blocked off the entirety of the tunnel's path. There was many strange things with this creature. First was the coloration. A typical meat snake's color is bright reds and light browns. This particular meat snake was a very deep maroon. Another strange thing about it was its behavior. This creature barely moved. Meat snakes are normally sluggish and encumbersome, but the specimen discovered seemed to lack even basic motor functions. Its behavior was that of a plant's. Stationary, with only minor movements within. One would assume it was dead. The reason the meat snake may act this way may be because it was completely lodged in place and minimized movements to conserve energy. But how would it have gotten this deep into the tunnel in the first place? And by the looks of weathering, it had been in there for quite some time. So how did it get so large? The answer was discovered by a different cleaning crew, who found the other end of the tunnel. They followed it until it met with the other end of the meat snake. Alongside it was a huge pile of This meat snake's skin also displayed great amounts of resilience.
Lovely.
It took several days of cutting to even obtain a sample. Here, you can see the clear difference between this meat snake specimen versus a normal meat.
The comparison shows the great difference between the regular meat snake on the right and the specimen found on the left.
Snake's membrane.
That looks like cooked meat.
Testing on the sample showed that it had great immunity to damage. It tolerated extreme freezing temperatures, extreme heat temperatures, and even high doses of radiation. It is a wonder how such durability can occur in an organic creature. Another strange phenomenon is the smell off the skin. Normally, it would have a sour smell of rotting flesh. The specimen displayed a rather pleasant smell, like that of cooking scrambled eggs. Meat snake was later discovered to be missing by unknown survivors.
What the hell?
Snake grew in.
Okay, I don't know if there's a decimal point there, because otherwise that meat snake is 30,000 meters long, but also there's a wee goofy. Stop doing the goofies.
Later discovered to be missing by unknown survivors.
So it appears to just be a general of some kind. And he seems to be wearing another one of those Nutriarco badges. I have a badge bearing the Nutriarco logo. So is the company, like, the company must have been around for a while. If it's been around during the war.
How the meat snake grew in size was discovered to be
On your... One of the critters built up the courage to meet the now awakened stranger. They crawled to the prince's side and extended out their hand in friendship. The prince reached back, and together they had formed the bond that would change their fate. So, my final thoughts. Nutriarco, company that has something to do, potentially, with the VIta Carnis species as a whole, given that their logo is the same thing that was found in the host video, in the host segment of the documentary, and as the symbol on the screen, that was on screen. There's also something strange with the flavor enhancer, because of seemingly the music going all funky, and the comment that I read. And they seem to have been around for a long time, given that seemingly an army general has a Nutriarco badge. And the stories, I don't know what they are significant for now, but they definitely seem to have some kind of potential connection with VIta Carnis. Like, well, obviously, but I don't know how. It's definitely supposed to be symbolizing something, but I don't know what that is yet. If any of you want to any of you want to watch this on your own, or like, the link will be in the description to Darian Quilloy's channel. And if you want to pose any theories you may have, like, just send them in the comment section down below. If you want to be notified next time I upload a video, and the video covering the 5 remaining tapes, videos, make sure to smash subscribe button. That's a beautiful face. And anyway, I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have an amazing time of day.